Well, hello, my beautiful and amazing crafters. Welcome to another video of Crafting with Shaneda. It's going to be a fun tutorial. I'm actually going to make a coloring book because I'm getting ready for Easter and I'm getting my custom baskets ready. And of course, I have to throw in a personalized coloring book. So come along with me as I create this book. Now, I do have a few coloring book tutorials on my channel. Make sure to check them out. I'll have them listed for you guys as well. But we're going to get started. But we're going to jump right into today's tutorial. So I will include the measurements for the coloring book in the description box below, and I'll place them here on the screen for you. But I'm just using a coloring book template that I had already for another project, and I'm just going to revamp it a little bit for today's project. So this is going to be the equivalent of a full sheet of paper, because normally I would fold my coloring books in half and staple them to attach all the pages. But today we're going to do something a little bit different. But each page is going to be 8.5 by 5.5 inches. Let's get started with the front and back cover. So for the design for the front and back cover, I actually took a photo of my granddaughter and brought it into Copilot and had it do a cartoon version of the photo, and I will list the prompt that you can try as well. And I think this came out so cute. I'm going to go back and just change the font of the verbiage here. Now I'm going to go back in and add more Easter elements to the front and back cover, but let's go ahead and get started on the actual pages themselves. Okay, so for the pages, I have everything still set up. They are still the 8.5 by 5 inches for each coloring page, but I'm going to be creating a border on both sides of the page, a very slight border. I think it's less than 0.3, okay? And the reason I'm going to do this is because when I go to assemble the coloring books, I'm going to be using my binder. I'm going to be using a spiral binder. So I'm so excited. I'm going to be using this binding machine that's going to create the holes for me for this coloring book. Definitely a lot different than what I'm used to. I usually use a long neck or a long stapler to bind my books. I even tried it with some binding paste or like a glue. But this time I decided to try something different because I really want to include these personalized books in my store. And these are a really good selling point as well. So I'll make sure to list the link for this in the description box below. So keeping that in mind, that's why I'm making a border on each side of the page. So when I go to print and cut, there's room for that hole punch that's going to be created when I put it in the binding machine, and it's not going to interfere with the actual coloring page itself. So these little margins are going to be my guide, and I just put them on both sides of the paper on the right and left side. So when I go to print this out, I have two coloring pages on one full sheet of paper, and I have my guides to make sure everything stays in place. Now that that's all out of the way, it's time to add in our coloring pages. Now, like in my previous videos, I actually showed you how to create your own pages, your own workbooks, but we're gonna make it easy this time because I have a few to make and I just wanna jump right into printing and assembling the coloring book. So again, I'm going to create a Fabrica, and I just typed in Easter activity books, and so many came up to choose from. And because I have the full access, I have personal commercial licenses included in all my downloads, which is great. I can download as much as I would like, and I'll make sure to put a link to create a Fabrica as well, so you could check it out with the free trial. So I went ahead and downloaded this activity book, and I like this book because not only does it have coloring pages, it also has activities, and that's exactly what I was looking for. And this activity book came with, I think, over 175 pages. So I could do a lot of different books with just this one download. So I'm just going to go through and pick which ones I like the most. You could definitely just drag and drop it right into the page, or you can upload it directly into Canva. Okay, so I'm just going to play around with each of the pages and make sure that they all fit in between the little border guides that I placed. Oh, before I forget, I'm going to go ahead and just duplicate one and have it ready so that way I don't have to redo anything. And I'm going to continue adding some different activities for the page. I think I'm going to make this book 8 pages. We'll see how it looks, and then I might make some more. But once I'm done making sure everything where it needs to be, I'll go ahead and remove my borders because I don't need them anymore. And then I'm just going to go through and add some little personal elements onto each page, just using Canva, and see what's available under the Easter section just to jazz it up. And I'll be back with all the final pages. All right, let's get started. So I'm going to print out all my coloring pages first. I'm using my inkjet printer, and I'm going to be using this textured cardstock to print out my coloring pages. I like this textured cardstock because it's a little bit thicker than plain paper. It has a matte finish, and you're not able to see the images through the back side of the paper, which that is the key thing. I don't like seeing the images, especially when I'm doing a coloring page that's front and back. So for the front and back cover, I used a glossy thick cardstock from Party Printable Cardstock. I'll list everything I use in the description box below. I went ahead and cut away any of the white excess, and now I'm going to go ahead and trim these pages. So before I start using my binding machine, I did some test runs so that way I can make sure everything's going to line up accordingly, and that way I could gauge and place my little red marker that you see there on the screen for exact placement. Once I got it just right, I went ahead and punched those holes in all the pages of my coloring book. And this binding machine was very easy to use. To place the holes in your pages, you're going to bring the lever towards you. And then to open up the prongs for the spine of the notebook, you'll place them against the metal railing here, and then you'll press it away from you, the lever away from you, so you can open up those prongs and start placing in your sheets. And then once you've added all your sheets for your coloring book, your back cover, and your front cover, you'll close the prongs by bringing the lever towards you one final time, and then you're all done. Go ahead and remove your coloring book from the binder and cut away any excess prongs. They cut easily with a pair of sharp scissors. Be careful with any sharp objects. So far, one book down. I have about maybe 8 more to go, and I'm so excited. I'm going to add some coloring, some crowns, and place this in a plastic sleeve, and these are ready to go. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope you learned a little bit or a lot. I'll make sure to leave all the items and measurements that I use in my description box, so make sure to check that out. And I cannot wait to see you on the next video of Crafting with Shaneda. Happy crafting!